For one weekend out of the year, a campsite in Texas hosts kids with one thing in common. They all have Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is a genetic disorder that arises from abnormal brain circuitry. Disturbances in neurotransmitters such as dopamine results in tics, attention deficit, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and loss of inhibition. At Camp du Ballon Rouge, we had a chance to sit down with staff, counselors, parents, and campers to get a better understanding of Tourette syndrome. This is Tourette syndrome up close.
Tourette syndrome is a neurologic disorder. Some have very stereotypic movements. They do the same movement all the time. At first we thought he had allergies because he would sniffle and do a lot of eye blinking.
There are probably more varieties of tics than words in the dictionary.
My tic is making a really loud sniffling sound like this.
I have some neck tics.
Facial expressions, rolling the eyes and stuff. My neck goes backward.
I twitch my eyes and then I cuss, coprolalia.
Coprolalia is involuntary swearing, and because it can be so shocking, it is widely exploited by the media. But for these kids, it makes it nearly impossible to make friends.
I say the N-word a lot, so that's really hard to go out in public.
Most people's perceptions of Tourette syndrome is based on television and vocal tics. So I think because it is so misunderstood, people interpret it as a behavior problem.
Everyone has this view of, oh, so you run around saying cuss words and, you know, that's awesome, and it's not. It's not something you can turn on and off.
Kids with Tourette have multiple kinds of challenges because in addition to making movements and noises they can't control, many of them have obsessive-compulsive disorder, attention deficit disorder that makes it difficult for them.
I'd much rather have much more tics than be as compulsive and obsessive over things as I am. It is miserable.
The psychological symptoms are more difficult to deal with a lot more than the actual physical tics. For myself, I experienced obsessive-compulsive disorder. It's time-consuming, it's frustrating. I'm
constantly washing my hands, constantly thinking about the things that people walk around with on their back. Like my backpack always has to be very clean, sanitary, and that's all I think about. And a lot of the time it takes over my day.
Like when I'm in school, say, and I'm taking a math test, I write like the answer and it won't look right. The numbers won't look right. I know it's the right answer, but they won't look right. Like the 2 will be a little scrawny, and so I'll have to erase it and do it over.
You know, I'll go to a restaurant and you'll never, especially if I'm by myself, you'll never see me sit smack dab in the middle of the restaurant. I'll find a corner, you know, if I can, with a table where no one is behind me and can see me, you know, taking from behind.
I'm walking down the street and I bump into some stranger. I have one of 2 options. The first option is to go back and bump into him with my other shoulder. And the second option is the next 30, 40 minutes of my life are just miserable. I'm taking, because the only thing I'm thinking about is, you know, oh my God, I didn't touch the other side.
But I'm overcoming OCD because I have 2 different types of shoes on.
To talk to another parent or another child and explain that this is just part of the syndrome, they don't get it.
You're treated differently, and that people are mean to you because of who you are on the outside and not who you are on the inside. Nobody can be perfect, and most people just don't get the time to know other people. They just do it by the way they look and stuff, especially in 5th grade.
And just let kids make fun of me. I don't care, because I know I'm not that different.
I guess I would compare it to like sneezing. You know, in the general public, you want to sneeze, but you kind of hold it in the best you can, but here you just let it go.
Instead of getting mad at something, I can tic. Here, especially, you can do that. I'm not nervous here. I'm not uncomfortable, I'm not afraid. The people here, they They care, they're understanding of you. They don't look up and point fingers at you when you're yelling and screaming for no reason in the middle of class. And you can just feel good about yourself.
I know in my house, it's very stressful, especially with corporelia. If someone's on the phone, you can't cuss. Or going out in public, it's not acceptable. You have to go sit in the car. Or somebody will want to leave you in the car because they're embarrassed. Here, nobody's embarrassed of you.
Because when you come here, there are all these people and you're like, hey, I'm not the only one. All these kids know what it's like to be teased. It's so important to have a place like this.
Most of these kids, a lot of them are homeschooled, a lot of them have no social interaction with other kids, and so a lot of times they're isolated. So here, they can just be kids.
A lot of my campers tell me that there aren't as many questions. You know, when you get to a new environment, very often these kids have to answer a lot of questions about Tourette syndrome, and they don't have to do that here.
It's just so comforting because you know that nobody will be mean to you. If you're out in the real world, you really don't know that a lot of people have it, but if they're all put in one camp, you're thinking, wow, who knew there were so many people who had it?
Many of the children have never even met another child or person with Tourette syndrome. And in a way, it's a relief, it's encouraging. They learn to do things without their parents here, and they go away with a real sense of accomplishments. We have horseback riding, we have a ropes challenge course.
Basketball.
Archery and paintball.
I really like the fishing.
We have the dance at the end of the day.
It's a lot of fun.
This is the only place that they can just let it all hang out.
Everybody go get
We had a gentleman named George, and he was OCD with hand sanitizer. When you'd shake his hand, he'd pull his sleeves past his hands. Over the course of the day on Saturday, we convinced George that we might not need hand sanitizer all the time, and got him to a point where the counselors would hold it for him. Saturday night, he was dancing with a girl. And after that, we decided that if girl cooties are okay, well, maybe girls have touched everything. And George doesn't use his hand sanitizer anymore. Not only is this a place that they get a chance to be normal, they get a chance to get past some of their obsessions.
The staff here in the clinic don't get to go horseback riding and do all the fun things at camp. We are making sure that they're taking their medicines, that we handle any crises that come up so that they can have the best experience possible.
It's really nice because they're taking their time to help us and make sure we have a good time. We'll never be able to repay them.
The camp is paid for all by donations. No one pays for camp. A lot of the families can't afford it, so they wouldn't be able to come.
There's nothing like this anywhere else for free. That's the important part, that it's free, because a lot of these people can't afford it, much less afford their medication.
Donations provide them a place where they can truly be kids.
Kids with Tourette's will never, ever be able to say thank you enough.
I would love to see this grow into a full week in the summertime. I think that the kids need that support.
I didn't know any other kids with Tourette's except for that exception of 2, and I didn't know that they weren't near as bad as I was. This weekend, I've met a girl who's exactly like me and potentially my new best friend.
I just love it. You also just get to be around people who treat you nice no matter what you're like.
It's wonderful.
I mean, it's a place she can get grounded and feel normal.
The parents are invited to the closing ceremony, where the campers tie wishes to red balloons and let them take flight.
We wish that everyone would understand us and treat us the same, even though we're different.
Our wish for Cabin 3 was that the Ballon Rouge could continue to grow so that anybody who has Tourette's would know what it feels like to experience a weekend like this.
Once they're given the chance here to overcome or accomplish something, they're like, you know, this Tourette thing, it really can't slow me down.
It's only 2 days, but those are the 2 days that you want to grow up with.
I mean, seriously, how could he not like this camp? It's the awesomest camp I could think of. My name is Alex Nicopoulos, and I have Tourette syndrome.
I am Brittany Cleo and I have Tourette syndrome. And I love it.
My name is Amber Briggs and I have Tourette syndrome.
My name is Michael Conway and I have Tourette syndrome.
My name is Samantha Lopez and I have Tourette syndrome.
My name is Rachel Elaine Marsh and I have Tourette syndrome, and I love this camp.
I'm Craig Walters, and I have Tourette syndrome.